Hello YouTube and library and Steemit. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a piece of advice. I bought a Motan, which is basically an ad motor electric bike. Great bike, goes very fast. It's like a motorcycle once you unlock the top speed. However, I've discovered something very important that I need to let you know about the battery pack. And I don't look my best right now because I think everybody out there needs to know this because this is a big hazard. Okay, on the Motan battery pack, I don't have it here because I just finished repairing it. It has a little key that locks up. You know, you put it in one side and a little keyhole, it locks it to the bike so that the battery is secure while you drive. And you can unlock it and remove the battery and carry it in with you if you are afraid of somebody riding off with your bike or something like that. But on the other side, it has a round metal ringed charging port that looks a hell of a lot like your keyhole. This is the very first time I've ever ridden this, so I hadn't developed the muscle memory yet to know which side is which. And I was looking down from high above when I went to put the key in it to unlock my pack to bring it inside. This is that charging port. Do you see what's wrong with this charging port? This is a 5.5 millimeter barrel type plug. You notice something in there? There's no prong in there anymore. This plug looks a hell of a lot like the keyhole when you're not looking at it dead on. It looks just like the keyhole on the other side. And what happens? Well, you put your key in there. It touches that metal ring, and the minute it comes into contact with that prong, you get full power. Full power. Now, if you look, I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, the end is blown off this key. I put my key in there to unlock my battery, and I had a dot in my vision for the better part of 40 minutes after the arc that came out of that thing and blew the end of this key into the plasma dimension. Yeah, but so far no ill effects from that. I'm not seeing a dot or anything permanent. It was basically like an ultra bright camera flash, but it touched this outer metal, and when I went in there to turn the key and I hit that prong, it blew that prong completely out of that thing. Not only that, but it left molten metal in there. Well, you know, it melted the metal and it went down there and it kind of came real close to completing a solid bridge between that center and that outer part. Thank God it didn't blow the wire off the end of it. This is cut because I just put a new charging port on the thing. But yeah, that the negative side. Sorry, it's a new phone, so finding where this needs to be placed is a little tricky. This whole thing, all the way inside, instead of it being a plastic body out here or completely covered in plastic out here to protect that from that happening, like any other 5.5 millimeter plug you'll ever find. Thought I smelled something burning. I hope I didn't jigger that up. Anyway, let me turn that off. I'm kind of a little worried about that. I'm starting to smell hot. I'm driving the charger with an inverter because I didn't want it to overload if something shorted. This body is usually plastic all the way to the end of this. I'll show you what I mean. Let me unplug this thing. On this is the pigtail I wired into the top of this thing to replace that port. But on this, you see it's even on this though, there's a little bit poking out. But in most equipment, this is all shielded in plastic. So you don't ever have the ability to touch that with a metal object and join the two connections. So yeah, it's a kind of a shitty repair, but hey, it's gonna work. That wire's in there so tight that water can't get in. I had to drill a hole in the top and run that because good luck trying to find all these parts to fix a battery pack. They just want you to order another one, and I don't have $500 to piss around with after buying that bike. Well, I do, but I don't want to piss it around on that. Especially when I just found the battery pack for half price from a generic manufacturer. Same ones that made this one. It's got their brand on it. But yeah, this. So be very, very careful your first ride out, don't mix up the two ports. Because, yeah, you will blow up a key, and it's possible you could blow the wires inside the battery. Thankfully, it didn't. I guess 50 volts is such a high, or 48 volts is high enough that it just instantly vaporized that little brass prong, but it didn't blow the wires. It didn't blow the wires, thank God. But yeah, if you buy one of those, any of those Motan type bikes, they all use that same pack. Be very careful about that. It's something you really want to avoid, because that could have caused a fire. You know, who would have thought? In fact, I can't think of any appliance or anything that uses a 5.5 millimeter plug where this part isn't shielded. It's usually behind plastic. Like, let me show you something. I'll show you what I'm powering this thing with. Hang on, I'm going to pause this. Here is what I'm charging that. Here's what I'm powering that charger with. And you see it's got the, God, this is weird. It's like brand new phone. Everything feels like it's underwater. This is all 5.5 millimeter plugs, and you see how they're put in? They're behind plastic. You can't shove a key into that. You can't and blow it up. I'm not even going to attempt that because that would be stupid anyway. I was like, see, like this. But no, anyway. You generally cannot short that plug. And see, look down in there. You see, that's what that is. There's a little prong sticking out of that. And when you have that all that negative on the outer metal ring of that thing, that's a short circuit waiting to happen. And it did. The first time you forget, and you reach down there like I did to plug that thing in, or to unlock it off your bike, you know, make sure you get off your bike. Make sure you know which side you're putting that key in, because the keyhole and that power plug, let me see if I can show you this. See what I did, I just took it out, but that power plug, and I just shoved a tight wire nut in there to close that off. It's a stopper if I ever want to pull it out again, and if I ever get my hands on a plug that fits that instead of this crap. But yeah, see, it looks like a keyhole. And if you look on the other side, let me turn it around. Lo and behold, there's a keyhole. And if you're up top and you reach down the wrong side and put that key in, yeah, good luck charging it ever again. So, yeah, you'll have to do what I did. See what I did? Well, if the focus will work. There it goes. What I did is I got these pigtails. Let me show you what I got. Actually, they're right over here. I got these pigtails. So you get some females and some males. And I just wired it in there. Now, here's the thing. Here's the caveat. There's massive, massive, massive power inside this thing. And if you wire this backwards, you're going to blow that charger out. Probably. I don't think it has those protections built into it. When these wires in here, even when this thing is switched off, you can switch it off. Even when this thing is switched off, there is power at the charge port. This is a direct line into the positive and negative of the battery. So if you accidentally short that positive to anything in there, or you short that negative to anything positive in there, or you touch them together by accident, you're going to blow this thing sky high, and you might even catch it on fire. You can injure yourself if you don't have any knowledge of electrical fundamentals. Don't do this. Don't do this. I was taking a risk doing it because I don't have $500 at my disposal right now to throw at another battery pack. So, well, if you get it from the manufacturer, these are the guys. Look for this logo. It's a down tube battery pack is what it's called. HL makes this. And they make a generic. And all these e-bike manufacturers, these are the ones they buy. And all they do, the key comes standard. And you just tell them what kind of charger you want. This plug, all this stuff here, the switch and the plug is in a little panel that comes out. They just put whatever type charger hookup you want or whatever, you know, to, what do we want to say, customize it or boutiqueify it or whatever the hell you want to call it. But they're all the same battery. They're all 18650 cells. The batteries in this thing are the same kind of batteries that most of the older Tesla cars run on, you know. And they pack a wallop. And like I said, if you don't know what you're doing in there, if you absolutely do not go into this pack to rebuild it, unless you know exactly what you're doing. You should be able to open it and recognize what that all is in there before you even attempt to work on it. It's like I said, you got to get the polarity right, and you got to keep those from touching anything. The minute you cut those wires, you want to put a wire nut on the end of them so they can't just dangle around in there while you're working and short the battery out. Always keep them insulated or covered until you're ready to connect them, and connect them one at a time. If you try to do it all at once, you're going to have all kinds of crap happen. I am not responsible for your stupidity. You do this at your own risk, and you accept your own knowledge levels. So that being said, that's what I wanted to warn you guys about. Any of y'all that get bikes that have this battery pack on it, watch this. This thing is the critter getter right here, and it'll get you. See, I burned that little post all the way down in there. Look at that shit. Yeah. And it continued. I was going down the road. I thought I had cleaned it out, and it continued to pop after that because it had little pieces, little rivulets of metal in there that were dangling around. And I hit this bump, and there's this this white flash comes out the side of my bike. I thought it was a car headlight that had just hit me. I didn't realize this thing was continuing to intermittently short as I was going down the road. Didn't hurt my electronics, thank God. I hope it didn't hurt the BMS and the battery. Well, actually, this battery doesn't have much of a battery management system. I was very surprised. I opened it up. It's just this massive pile of batteries. It's just a huge stack of batteries in there. There's got to be about 100. I didn't count them, but there's a shit ton in there. It's like I said, there's a lot of power in this thing. So do this at your own risk. If you're not at all at home with your ability to work with electrical, don't do it. Let somebody who knows what they're doing do it. But yeah, because that was like a $500 mistake I made, just accidentally putting the key in the wrong one on the wrong side without thinking. Always visually make sure before you plug that thing in, or you're going to be fixing that. But that being said, that's the whole thing. So y'all have a good one. And forewarned, you buy these, and I don't think it's just Motan or Add Motor. Anybody that uses these packs, I'm imagining that crappy connector is on every one of them, and that's a safety hazard, so watch yourself. Because, man, that key got hot. I had to throw that key down. It heated that whole key up just in that little microsecond that it blew the end off of it. It was like crossing 120 volts. So be very careful. Y'all have a good one.